you should be logged into a computer. If you are not logged into a computer, Control Alt Delete. If you are not logged into a computer, you need to look on with the person next to you. Okay? If you do not have access to a computer screen of your own, or you don't have someone to log in next to you, raise your hand and let me know. Okay, can you join somebody? Doesn't matter. All right. Awesome. Okay, so I sent you. I sent you an email. I'll wait. I'll wait. I sent you an email yesterday, right? And I asked you if you liked pictures, if you wanted to skip your final exam, and if you were interested in a field trip. Right? So, how many of you are interested in skipping your final exam?
What?
They were a little enthusiastic right there.
How many of you are interested in photography?
Of yourself.
And how many of you are interested in field trips? See, this is the project for you. Okay, so you have an index card coming around. I'm going to tell you what to do with that in a moment. You can just kind of put it to the side. Come on in. You can put it to the side for now. Okay. You will need something to write with at some point. If you don't have something to write with, I'm going to make you write with a crayon. Okay. But anyhow, so you need that index card. Put it somewhere. Okay. We are looking on to computer screens. Go ahead and go to the Impact Academy homepage. Impact Academy homepage. Thank you. Impact Academy homepage. And when you have reached the Impact Academy homepage, click on Teachers. We're doing this paperless today because that's the way we like to do things. Click on Teachers and then find my name, which is Joyner. Open that up. If you were not familiar with how to find your teacher's websites, this is how. So when a teacher says it's posted on my website, or you can book a webinar on my website, this is where you go to find all of your teacher's websites. But click on mine, Miss Joyner. If you are not there,
Miss Bradford and Mr. Adams' live lesson is 7:02.
If you are not there on Miss Joyner's page, raise your hand. If you're not there, we got some help.
Miss Jordan,
Yes.
can I please get a pencil?
I will give you crayon in a minute.
All right, thank you.
Don't worry, it's not like a state test or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On my website for Miss Joyner, you'll see the pages listed down the side, and you'll see one for Photo Journal Project. You see that? Click on that and open it up. Okay. Again, we're going paperless because that's the way we like to do things. You can see there a complete listing of everything that I'm going to be talking about today. So you can access that project description at any time. You'll also see a link there. You guys see the blue link at the top that says click here? If you want to download and print the project with the rubric on your own, then that's where you find the project description and the rubric to download onto your own computer or to print. Everybody with me so far? Nod. It makes me feel like you're listening. Okay. Okay. So we're going to look at just that front page today with the description of the project, and that's what we're going to go through. But if you want to download this onto your computer later and take a look at the rubric, which is important because that's how I will grade the project, that's where you find it. Okay? All right, so let's get started. How many of you are on social media of any kind? I won't friend you. I love you, but I won't. Okay. So, photojournalism is a huge part of our society. Okay. You guys ever been to a concert? Ever been to a concert? Yes? Yes? Okay. What are people holding up in the air? Their phones, right? They're filming, okay? Photojournalism is all around you. Those social media sites that you're on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Vine, any of those, all of that is photojournalism. That's what it is. We use images and we use pictures to tell a story. Okay? Yes.
So like a self-portrait.
Absolutely. Your selfies.
I hate that word.
I know. I do too. It sounds kind of cheesy, but all of those tell a story, right? And we'll talk a little bit about stuff like that as we go through this presentation. So photography is all around us. It's used by you guys. It's used by news media, your everyday news media that you see, CNN, your 6 o'clock news. We as a society tell our story through pictures. And that's the cool thing about camera phones. That camera that you guys carry around in your pockets everywhere you go that you probably really don't think that much about. Not every generation has had that. And so it has completely revolutionized the way news coverage occurs because every person now can tell a story. You carry that ability around with you, okay? You are the first generation that tells your own story through pictures the way that you do. When I was growing up, I didn't take pictures and have like a photo blog about what my life was like and what was important to me and things like that. That is a capability and ability that you guys have. And it's really cool, and it's very powerful if you learn how to harness it and use it the right way. Would you agree? Okay. So this project is a photojournal project. Photojournal is where we tell a story through images. Photojournals can be digital or they can be told in print. You guys are actually going to print this project. So while you're probably used to using a photojournal digitally, like I said, like through Instagram or Snapchat or however you typically do that, we're actually going to take pictures and we're going to print them. And they're going to be displayed. Photojournals all have a few things in common that we're going to talk about today. They have a theme. They have writing, photos, obviously. And really, really good photojournalism has a goal that's bigger than you, okay? Where we think about our audience and we try to tell them a story that is going to matter to them, that's going to change something. Whether it's to be an inspiration, or to draw attention to a group or something in society that you think needs to be changed, okay? You'd be amazed. We've all heard the term going viral, right? Change happens in our society when photos and images and things go viral, right? When we put them out there and they spread around. So when you have something important to say, pictures and things like that and putting them out there for the public to see, it actually changes things in our society. All right, so you're probably wondering what this has to do with your final exam, right? That's what you're all wondering, isn't it? Maybe just a little bit. If you participate in this project, then I'm going to use the grade for this project in place of your final exam, okay? So if you complete this project, you don't have to do your English final. Intriguing? You guys are like, maybe. Yeah, you don't have to do your English final. I'll use this in place. Your English final is 20% of your grade. Did you know that? It is. It's 20% of your grade. So if you're interested in doing this project, which by the way, you'll have multiple chances to revise as you go along, then it puts a lot more control in your hands of your final exam grade. Okay? All right, so let's look at your at the website together as we go through, okay? So you have a little description at the top, right? Everybody with me? If you're reading on my website. And we just talked about the description. You're going to create your own photojournal, At your most basic level, we're just talking about what the photojournal is made of. You're going to take between 3 and 5 pictures. Okay? Those pictures are going to be developed and printed. They're going to be 8 by 10 pictures. Okay? Obviously, you can take more than that, but you're going to have to choose which ones that you want displayed. So you're going to have between 3 and 5. Okay? For every one of those pictures, you're either going to do a short writing to accompany the picture, okay? Or you can do one long essay that kind of discusses all of the pictures. Everybody with me so far? Yes? Okay. So that's kind of your most basic thing. I am looking for a place to have this project displayed. You'll see at the top on the webpage that the due date for this project is not until April, right? You'll notice that you have 2 due dates there, right? What are the 2 due dates you see? There's a review date and a due date, okay? If you look, if you scroll down a little bit, it tells you that there are meeting dates for this project. You guys see that? Mandatory meeting dates? You can look at the screen and see. So I've given, everybody with me? Find that? Okay. So I've given you a list of meeting dates there, okay? You have to pick any 4 from that list. You have to meet with me at least 4 times while you are working on this project. Now, I've given you a list of suggested meeting dates and times there, but if none of those work for you, then feel free to schedule your own with me, okay? So if you can't make any of those meeting dates and times, and you'll notice there's a mix there of face-to-face and webinar, right? A lot of you, I think, have dropped into my virtual office hours that I do every week. So you can meet with me virtually, or you can meet with me face-to-face. I've given you a meeting list date there. If none of those work, then we can schedule webinars or face-to-face times that work for you. But you have to schedule at least 4 while you're working on the project. Make sense? The reason for that is I want to make sure that you are getting the project as you go along, okay? I don't want to throw you out there and wait until a week before the project is due to discover that you have gone off track, okay? As a matter of fact, part of your grading for this project is the process that you undergo, not just the final product. So I'm going to grade whether you are able to attend those meetings. I'm going to grade whether you seek out revisions, whether you change things, basically how well you do in your work ethic through the project. Make sense? Yes? So I will try to make that as convenient for you as possible. All right? I will meet with you when you are available, but these are the official meeting times. Make sense? Yes? Okay. All right, so you're going to meet with me for the project. You'll also see that we have some field trip opportunities for the project, which I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. But first, let's look at the actual components of the project itself. Okay? So I told you that a photojournal has different parts, every photojournal, right? The thing that's going to count the most in this project is the theme that you choose. You guys see on your website there what I have written about theme. So there's a little passage there that talks about it. For your pictures, anybody remember how many pictures you're going to have? 3 to 5. For your pictures, all of your pictures are going to have a common theme. Okay? You are all in my English class, so you should all know what theme is, right? It's the big idea that unifies a work. Okay? So pictures and photography can have themes as well. For example, look at this image up here. This is a beautiful sunset, or maybe it's a sunrise. I don't know, I guess it depends on how you look at it, all right? Any themes that pop into your mind? What could be the big idea for that? Life. Nice. Nature. That was impressive. Yeah. So, even when you look at an image, whether you're reading a work or looking at an image, all things can have a bigger idea, right? Something that they are representative of. So for your pictures that you take, you're going to have a theme that is common to all of them, okay? Do you guys see the listing of sample themes that you have there. I've given you a list. You guys see that? Yeah? Okay. So it says possible themes for your project. Do you notice anything about these themes? Do they all look like they are exclusively for English?
No.
Which themes can you pick out that do not look like they are for English?
Symbolic relationship.
Yep. What else? All of them?
Safety.
Safety? Maybe. Which terms do you see that seem to fit in with other subjects?
Create your own picture of anything, so.
Create your own. I guess so. It could be.
Ties.
How about mutualism? Any science? Any people in here taking science? Okay. Camouflage. There's another one for biology for you. So that's not done by accident. What I would like for you to strongly consider, and I have spoken to the other teachers at Impact Academy, is using this project for not just English credit. Because if you're going to do a project of this size, then you may as well get the most credit that you can for it, right? Wouldn't you agree? So you'll see that you have, these are recommended themes. You're more than welcome to come up with your own. Just talk to me about it and we'll see what, we'll see what we can do. That's totally fine. These were just some ideas I had off the top of my head. But you're going to pick a theme, and it can be a theme that has to do with another subject. So, for example, if you really love history, or if you really love science, or maybe you are actually really struggling in math and you want to find a way to incorporate English into your math because you're better at English. This is a great opportunity for that. Anybody in that boat? Yeah? I see some nods. Okay. So I really want to encourage you to think about using the project for cross-curricular credit. And if that seems confusing and you aren't sure how to do that, then that's something that you and I can talk about one-on-one, okay? Or at any of these meetings, all right? So even if you don't see a theme on this list that appeals to you, but you want to get some extra credit in science, or you want to get some credit in history, then just come to me and talk to me and say, Ms. Joyner, I really want to get credit for English and history. Ms. Mason, the Spanish teacher, if you're taking Spanish, said that she will give Spanish credit for this project as well. Yes, ma'am? She is, yes. And I'm gonna, yep, Ms. Dorsey is as well. Yes.
What if you can incorporate almost like 3 subjects?
If you want to incorporate 3 subjects, we can talk about that. Okay?
Oh, it's really hard.
Yeah, it would be, but it could be done. Okay? So I want you to be creative. Okay? These are your images and your pictures, and it's your project. So I want you to design it in a way that is going to get you the most credit that you can get. Make sense? Work smarter, not harder. You ever heard that before? Yeah? Okay. So that's theme. So let's look at a couple of pictures and talk about theme, just to sort of give you an idea. Yes?
Got the themes for all of it.
Huh?
I got the themes for almost all of it.
Oh, that was quick. Okay. So 2 of these pictures have a theme in common. 2 of these pictures have a theme in common. Can you guess which 2? Music? There's not a wrong answer here, by the way.
The matches and the guy.
Yeah, the matches and the boy or the guy. What do these pictures have in common? How are
Pain
they
and
the
difference.
same? Huh?
Pain and difference.
Pain and difference. I think that's a really good one. Shelby? Isolation. Isolation? Dang. Very nice, yeah. Jalen? Why? So, if we look at these 2 images right here, okay? June. If we look at these 2 images right here, we do see isolation in both of these pictures, right? I think we do see pain, and we do see difference here. You can tell, does this guy right here look happy?
Nope.
No, he looks kind of covered and sheltered and very guarded, doesn't he? He's all hunched over and bundled up. And then, how is this match different from the rest of them?
It's all burnt up.
It's burnt up. It's alone, right? It's separate. He looks very separate. Does he have any people with him or around him or anything like that? So when I say that pictures should have a common theme, this is what I'm talking about, okay? So you're going to choose 3 to 5 images. And this is sort of a negative theme, of course, but it doesn't have to be. It could be positive as well, okay? And you'll notice that these pictures are what I call staged, okay? This was done on purpose, right? Somebody thought of this image and created this for you to see, knowing that when you looked at it, you would think of pain or being different or being isolated. That is what the photographer intended for you to see. Make sense? Okay. Does anybody know where this picture came from? This is a very famous picture.
History book?
It is from a history book. You're right. Brandon?
Battle of the Iwo Jima.
No? Close. This is the right war. You're in the right time period. Like if we were playing hot and cold, you'd be warm. Yeah. It is World War II. Yes. I don't know. D-Day. This is a very famous image. This is the beaches at Normandy on D-Day. Do you think this picture was staged?
No.
Are these guys posing for this picture?
No.
No. This is what we call a spontaneous or candid shot. Okay? So your pictures can be either. Okay, yeah, that one's funny. We'll talk about it in a second. So your pictures can be either. They can be staged, where you actually conceive of an image and you pose it, or it can be spontaneous, or it could be a mixture of both. All right? It all depends on the theme or the message that you are trying to get across to your audience. Okay? So again, photos, you need 3 to 5 8x10 images. They can be spontaneous or staged. They can be black and white or color. Feel free to use editing. Does anybody in here know Miss Bradley? Teacher at Impact, Miss Bradley? Okay. Miss Bradley does, her husband is in professional video production. He works in the movie industry, and she does photography as a very serious hobby / pastime. And so she is going to actually work with us in some of these sessions. If you've ever been interested in how to take better pictures, or perhaps picking up photography as a hobby at some point, she's going to come in and talk to us about how to use photo editing, free ways to edit your pictures, how to take the best pictures, sort of give us an expert perspective on photography, which I'm actually interested in hearing too. I'd like to know how to take better pictures. Wouldn't you guys? So we're going to have her come in. Your photos have to be original. You have to take them. You cannot get them from the internet. Someone can't take them for you unless you are in them, obviously, because that would be weird. Right? But they have to be original. They have to be your idea and your conception. Okay? No, we're not doing artwork where you're drawing. We're not doing photos from the internet. They have to be yours. On that website that you're on, if you open up the printable version of the project, you'll see layout options on there. Okay, you don't have to open it right now. If you want to, that's okay. Because one of the things that you need to decide is how you want your pictures to be laid out. Do you want your pictures to be in what we call chronological order? What's chronological order?
It means in order by date.
In order by date, or in a specific order, right? You want people to look at this one first, this one second, or do you just want them to be random? Okay, so if you look at your layout options that are included in the project outline, I've shown you sort of how your pictures might be displayed. Okay. Your pictures are going to be framed. We're going to put them in black frames. They don't have to be expensive frames. That's fine. If you have trouble getting any of the materials for this project, if you have trouble printing pictures, if you have trouble getting frames, if you have trouble getting access to a camera to do this project, then come and talk with me privately. Mr. Thompson has said he's going to support you guys 100% with this. So if you want to participate in this project, but you're afraid you're not going to have all the materials, don't be. We'll make it happen. Okay? Photos. All right. Keep going. Your writing. Oh, wait a minute. We have to talk about the crazy picture. So this is another example of staged photography, obviously, right? We don't think the balloon put the beats on by itself. Anybody want to take a guess at the theme of that picture?
Silliness?
Silliness?
It's
Maybe?
silly.
Anybody think that maybe the photographer is making a statement in this picture? Jalen? Listening to music makes you feel like a balloon. Keep going. Somebody, that sounds kind of crazy, but you're actually on the right track. Somebody pick up what he said and run with it.
I gotta
Yeah.
say something like skin. Shut up.
What?
It basically makes you feel like you're in an imagination because the headphones would lay down the balloon because the balloon is more lighter than the headphones, so it makes you feel like you're in your own zone.
I like that. Yeah.
Shut
Like,
up.
it makes you feel like you're free because
Like you're free.
they go loosely.
Nice. Yeah. So does anybody put on their headphones or their music to escape, to be free or what? Maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe, right? Could it also be, Quincy, are you listening? Okay. Could it also be that if you keep the headphones on too long, you end up with nothing but hot air between your ears? Maybe it depends on how you interpret the image, right? Photography is an art. So sometimes it matters just as much what you perceive as what the photographer was trying to say to you. You know what I mean? So that's one of those. Again, a staged image. Okay. Writing. Okay. So I told you that for each one of your pictures, you have to analyze that picture for us. You have to make those connections. I need you to connect the theme that you choose with the photos, obviously. Tell me why you took that photo, what it has to do with your theme. Talk to me about how you personally connect with that photo and that theme. Why did you choose that? Of all the themes that you can choose, I want you to try to pick something that you can connect with, okay? Art and photography is only good if there's a little bit of yourself in it, right? So that is what I'm looking for in your writing. I'm looking for connections. And if you can conceive of an idea that has some type of goal bigger than skipping your final exam, which is pretty big, admittedly, then so much the better, okay? That would be even better. Sometimes I think, and you guys probably feel this way too, as teenagers, I think that society tends to kind of dismiss you as kids, right? Oh, they're just teenagers. Oh, they're just kids, you know. So sometimes you have to look, especially at your age, at creative ways of expressing yourself. And if there's something that you want to say or a message that you want to get out, this is a good way to practice doing that through other mediums, you know. All right, so connections is what I'm looking for. If you look on the project outline, which again is on my website under photojournal, you'll see a list of guiding questions. Do you guys see that? You may need to scroll down a little bit. See the guiding questions? So often when I talk to people about writing, the first thing they say to me is, I don't know what to write. Sound familiar? I don't know what to write. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. So I've given you a list of guiding questions here. Are you going to answer and include every question for every picture? Maybe not. Okay? But these guiding questions will help you discuss each of your pictures. Hold on just a second. So this may help you with your writer's block. So if you are a reluctant writer, I don't want that to scare you away from this project either, okay? I've given you a nice little outline here that you can use to discuss each one of those pictures. What?
Your video phone, it's not really
Oh.
showing the thing.
That's okay. It's following me. No pressure. Right. So I've given you a list of guiding questions, and that'll really help you with your written discussion. So if writing scares you, you have some guiding principles here that'll help you walk through the project. Source citations. I want you to choose at least 2 expert sources to cite in your writing, okay? And since you're crossing this with another subject, or maybe you're sticking to English, but since you are designing this project, then the experts that you choose will be totally up to you, right? So, for example, somebody said they wanted to cross this with science. So maybe you cross this, maybe you cite scientific experts based on whatever it is that you have chosen, mutualism or symbiotic relationships or something like that. You can also actually read about photography itself, or theme, or if you want to base this on a literary work. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And that would be something that we discussed in one of those 4 mandatory meetings that we mentioned earlier, right? Is I'm going to talk to you about sources and how to find those and how to cite those and how to include those in your work. Okay? There's other guidelines here under writing. Let's see, what did I miss? Oh, the fun stuff, where it talks about your font. Do you guys see that? It's like the 3rd bullet point. Talks about the font you need to use, and we're going to back your writing on black paper. It's going to be posted underneath each individual photograph. Okay? So you have like all the kind of detailed stuff there as well. Okay. Questions about writing? Questions about anything so far? Yes?
So what about the cited sources? Is it like throughout like all of it, or like in each one you should have 2?
Throughout the whole project, you need to cite at least 2 sources. Okay? So you might mention a source for if you did separate writings for each photo, you know, and when I say separate writings, I'm saying a few solid paragraphs. It doesn't have to be like a full-length essay for each photo, okay? You might cite in one and then not in another, but as long as you have 2 sources for your whole project, you're good. Yes?
Why would you need, I'm sorry, where would you get the sources? Why would you, why, I literally missed that. I don't know why you need the sources, because you're doing it yourself.
Well, it depends on the theme that you choose. So, for example, if you chose a historical theme or if you chose a scientific theme and you're discussing, like I said, for science, if you're discussing mutualism, then you would cite your sources to support what mutualism is, help define it for your reader, that kind of thing, okay?
And even just to add to that, even if you have a theme that's maybe loneliness, you could still go in and do a little research on, get some statistics on teenagers and maybe what percentage of them have this feeling. I mean, there's always research that you can do back at anything. But I understand what your question
Yeah.
was asking. That was a good question.
So the other example I gave in your project guide was, so perhaps if you are editing your pictures, you're going to edit those pictures to kind of go along with your theme, right? So let's look at this picture right here. If I asked you what the mood of that picture was, what would you say?
Peace, because that's what they're similar.
Peaceful? Okay, yeah, peaceful. Jalen? Happy? Yeah, is this a sad, depressed picture? No. Part of the reason we know this is not a sad and depressed picture has to do with the author's editing choices. Did they choose to give you this picture in black and white? If you see a picture in black and white, would you generally, not always, but generally, would that picture be more likely to be a happy, joyful picture, or a picture that tends to be a little more serious or somber?
Serious and somber.
Right. So your editing choices make a difference there too. So Mina, one of the examples that I gave in the project guide was maybe some of the research you look at is how color affects mood. and you incorporate that into your editing of your photos.
I don't know
Okay.
how to make.
You guys do stuff like this when you're on Instagram and you choose those filters for your selfies or for whatever it is you're doing. You do that with purpose, you know, for some kind of reason. You know, why are you choosing that kind of dark, moody filter on that particular image? You know, what?
I don't even think of it like that.
You don't even think about it like that? Now you will. See, now you'll be analyzing everything. Say thank you, Miss Joyner. Yeah.
Since this man wanted me to so-called be light skinned,
What's your question?
I'm gonna say that it has to do with nature and life's light side.
Yeah. It's very light, and you can see the sun in the background, and you have sort of these little colorful decorations on the hands, and this is a staged image, right? Okay. So,
Ms. Joyner, when I look
Yeah.
at that, I think of cooperation,
yeah,
you know, because everybody kind of has to work together to get that.
yeah. So cooperation could be another thing. So it's something to think about. So what I really want you to do with your images and with your writing is focus on connections. How do you connect the writing with the theme, with your personal experience, with your goal for the project? Why do you make the editing choices that you make? Why did you choose the pictures that you chose? This is what I want to know, okay? So you can see that reflected in those guiding questions for your writing as well. So it's really going to kind of make you think through your pictures. We talked a little bit about goals. I'm going to tell you, having a goal for your project is the difference between an A and a B. I'm just going to be blunt with you, okay? You can do this project and think about and connect with your personal experience, with your photos and your writing, and do a good job and get a nice B. But if you want to get an A on your final exam grade for this project, then I need you to think outside of yourself. Think outside the box, so to speak. Why do your pictures matter to the world as a whole? What are you trying to say? Okay? Are you trying to inspire people? Are you trying to make a statement about something that you think needs to be changed in society? What's the purpose? Other than getting credit for your final exam. Because I know that's still what you were all thinking. Okay? Uh-huh. At least you're honest. Okay. We talked about materials. We talked about mandatory meetings. Questions about either one of those things?
Just to clarify, you just need 4 meetings. They don't
Four
all,
meetings.
They don't all have to be face to face.
They don't all have to be face-to-face.
Webinar.
They can be through webinar. I have listed suggested dates for those meetings where I have like scheduled time in my schedule. But if none of those dates and times work for you, then contact me and we can set up individual times for you. Okay? The important thing is that throughout the process of this project that you meet with me at least 4 times for me to review your work before that final due date. Okay? And that is just as much for you as it is for me. Because every time I look at your project and give you feedback and give you ideas about things that you could change, that just makes your grade higher. Right? Okay? So you're going to have that final review date, which is April 18th. By April 18th, I should see your finished product for this project. Does that mean that you have to wait until April 18th to finish this project? No. So if you want to go and finish this project in the next 3 weeks and submit the final project to me, and I will revise it and you can make your final changes, you can do that. That is okay. All right? So for my early finishers, and I know that there are some of you in this room that are early finishers that like to finish your stuff way ahead of time so you don't have to worry about that final exam window, this project still applies for that. Okay? So you can work on this project all the way through April if you choose to. Or if you want to finish it and get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about it at final exam time, that's fine too. Okay? The important thing is that we get those 4 review opportunities in there, and that by April 18th, you give me a final product to do a final review on. I will do that final review and I will return it back to you, and then the absolute deadline that I have to have this project 100% finished is April 25th. Okay? Make sense? We talked about class credit for this. How many of you think that if you do the project that you'll try to cross it with another subject? Raise your hand. Because that would be phenomenal. Maybe some of you are like, I can't commit to that.
I would do it with science because it's hard.
Yeah, and you can do it with science. So here's your bonuses. We talked about this. You do get to skip your exam, so I'll replace your final exam grade with this project grade. You get credit in multiple classes. I am going to try to get you a public presentation venue. Right now I'm working on, calm down. I didn't say you had to stand up and do a presentation. Some of you guys were like, I'm leaving right now. I'm trying to get the PAC over here, one of the galleries, okay? And here is what I will say to you guys, okay? If you don't want your name on your project for the public to see, for us to display it, I am fine with that, as long as I know whose project it is, okay? So for those of you who might have been thinking of doing something maybe a little bit edgy, you know, that's fine. We're still going to display it for a public audience, but we don't necessarily have to attach your name to it for public view. Make sense? As long as I know whose project it is. That's all that matters. Okay? Field trips. You ready to talk about field trips? You guys are like, yes, please. Some of you may know that you have a field trip coming up to the Center for Human and Civil Rights and the King Center, right? How many of you are going on that field trip? The King Center and the Center for Human and Civil Rights. Okay. If you haven't considered going on that field trip and you are considering doing this project, I would strongly suggest it. It's not required, but there's amazing things to see at both of these locations that would give you great photo opportunities and would also fit with a lot of these suggested themes that I have for you guys, okay? Personally, I may be going with you guys, I'm not sure, it depends on how many people go. But I went to the Center for Civil and Human Rights back in first semester, and I was absolutely blown away by it. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal day. Lots of good displays and information. So there's that one that's coming up. I guess that would be more in the history vein, right? For those of you that maybe were considering crossing with history. The other field trip that I'm working on right now that I have not given you the permission slip for yet, but that is coming soon, Miss Dorsey and I are going to take you guys to a maximum number of 50 of you guys to the Atlanta Botanical Gardens and Fernbank Museum of Natural History, okay, for a day-long field trip. Anybody ever been to the Botanical Gardens? A few? It's beautiful. We're talking about going in late March, so March 31st, okay? If you are working on this project, then I will give you first dibs on that trip because the maximum number of people that we can take is 50, okay? If you haven't been to the Atlanta Botanical Gardens before, get online at some point and just sort of look at some pictures. The different plants and the different environments, it's really, truly breathtaking, are set up by biomes and climates. So you guys see how this could lend to science, okay? So we're going to do a guided tour of the gardens. This is great photo opportunity for those of you that are interested. You can get a lot of your pictures that day if you choose to do that, and look at things on this suggested theme list or a theme that you come up with that's related to science, okay? We're going to go to Fernbank in the afternoon. Fernbank is, at the time, they're going to have an exhibit on bioluminescence. Anybody know what that is? Things that glow underwater. Organisms that glow underwater. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not even going to lie. So you kind of got sort of a history trip coming, and you've got sort of a science trip coming, right? Both of which are going to give you